I would like to make some edits to this mesh. And if I start selecting geometry, maybe I go into X-ray mode and I circle select, something that often happens is you end up selecting geometry that you didn't intend to. So one thing that we can do is we can hide geometry that might be a problem. So in this case, I'm just going to go ahead and circle select geometry that I know I don't necessarily need to see in the scene. Now I can still make a mistake and miss some things. I did accidentally select things, so you always have to have an open eye. Hold down Control and unselect that. And with this done, I can just push H on my keyboard and hide all that geometry. And later on, after I've made my changes, I can Alt-H and bring that geometry back. And if I do tab into object mode, I can't see the object as a whole. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just make some of the changes that I was thinking about doing. All right, so I'm going to turn on proportional editing. I'm going to just get a front view of this. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab some of this and I'm going to move it down. I'm going to make the area of influence a little bigger so that it moves more of the face down. And it's going to get a little wonky. But I think something like that might be a little more like what I would like to see. And then what I think I'm going to do is make some adjustments to these braids. So maybe now what I'll do is I'll try my sculpt tools. And what I'd like to do is sort of flatten these braids out a little bit and then drag them down somewhat. So I'm going to go ahead and maybe try the flatten tool and just see what happens if I just kind of work along here and flatten out the top of each of these braids. And then I'll tab into edit mode, and in X-ray mode, I think I'm just going to go ahead and try to grab the bottoms of each of these braids. I'll just hit 6 to kind of maybe maneuver around and see what we have. If I feel like it's a problem, I can go ahead and hide some of this geometry, but it is useful to be able to have it as a reference in case I'm worried about going too low or moving things into the mesh. With some of that selected, I think I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to grab and just move things down a little bit. And I'm just going back into object mode to make sure that those braids don't hang down into the body. There's a little bit to be done here. I think maybe what I'll do is go back into my sculpt mode, and this time I'll look for an additive item, like maybe I can just sort of inflate a little bit underneath. I think this might cause some problems with my mesh if I look at it in edit mode, but I'll take a look at that in a little while. But the point is I just want to add a little bit on the underside of these braids in a fairly quick, easy way. So if I go back into object mode and take a look, I think that looks a little bit more appropriate to what I was thinking. I mean, maybe I'll do a little bit more right along here, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add the muzzle and then apply the mirror modifier. All right, so let's go ahead and we'll add a Boolean. I'm going to put the Boolean on union. I am going to select cube 2, seeing as that was the muzzle that we just made in the previous video. I'm just going to select fast and apply. And if we get rid of that muzzle, looking better. Now we can see that there are some issues. We will come back and talk about some of these inconsistencies and problems next.